Hi, my name is Sam.
And I am, Julia. In this video, we would like to talk about internal controls
And internal audit. Stay tuned. Control is an action taken by management, the board of directors, and other parties to manage the organization's risk and increase the likelihood that the company established objectives and goals will be achieved. Internal controls serve as foundation that directs the performance of a series of actions of stakeholders within the organization to provide reasonable assurance that objectives and goals will be achieved.
As internal controls within an organization manage risks, it is expected from the internal audit function to help the organization maintains effective controls by evaluating their effectiveness and efficiency and promoting continuous improvement. Internal auditors are not the police of the organization. Their primary objective is to review whether the internal controls are effective, hence working as per the intention of its design, whether they efficient or they need improvement.
Over time, management and employees who are entrusted with accountability and responsibility of internal controls, due to several reasons, could not remember the reason why specific controls were designed. For example, why does the organization do background checks on potential employees? Why segregation of duties are formed, and why policies and procedures are created?
Internal auditors review the internal controls to ensure that they are working as intended and the entrusted person remains accountable and responsible for maintaining the controls. Internal auditors reports to the audit committee of the board of directors for public company, while for private company, it is recommended that internal auditors shall report to the highest management to maintain their independence and objectivity. As per the IIA Standard 2130.A1, the internal audit activity must evaluate the adequacy and effectiveness of controls in responding to risks within the organization's governance, operations, and information systems regarding the achievement of the organization's strategic objectives, reliability, and integrity of financial and operational information, effectiveness and efficiency of operations and programs, safeguarding of assets, compliance with laws, regulations, policies, procedures, and contracts.
Functionally, the internal controls can be classified into two categories: preventive controls and detective controls. Preventive controls. These controls are aimed to reduce the probability of the occurrence of the risk event. They are proactive in nature, for example, segregation of duties. Detective controls. These controls are aimed to detect if any risk event has already occurred. Detective controls are essential because they provide evidence that preventive controls are operating as intended, as well as offer an after-the-fact chance to detect irregularities.
The internal control integrated framework provided by the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations of the Treadway Commission is the leading and widely accepted framework across the globe. This framework has the following objectives: operations objectives, reporting objectives, and compliance objectives. Operations objectives. These pertain to the effectiveness and efficiency of the entity's operations, including operational and financial performance goals, and safeguarding assets, Against loss. Reporting objectives. These pertain to internal and external financial and non-financial reporting, and may encompass reliability, timeliness, transparency, or other terms as set forth by regulators, recognized standard setters, or the entity's policies. Compliance objectives. These pertain to adherence to laws and regulations to which the entity is subject. The Internal Control Integrated Framework elaborates internal control with 5 components: control environment, risk assessment, control activities, information and communication, and monitoring activities.
Control environment describes a set of standards, processes, and structures that provide the basis for carrying out internal control across the organization. Risk assessment forms the basis for determining how risks will be managed. A risk is defined as the possibility that an event will occur and adversely affect the achievement of organizational objectives. Control activities. These are actions that are generally described in policies, procedures, and standards that help management mitigate risks in order to ensure the achievement of objectives. Information and communication. Information is obtained or generated by management from both internal and external sources in order to support internal control components. Monitoring activities. These are periodic or ongoing evaluations to verify that each of the 5 components of internal control, including the controls that affect the principles within each component, are present and functioning. These components ensure the firm foundation of the internal controls within an organization.